Well, hello, everybody. This is Dr. David Jockers, and today I am talking about 12 strategies to heal fatty liver disease naturally. And so, as we look at the liver, it is really the most, arguably, I guess you could say, the most vital organ in the body. We can't do a full liver transplant, whereas many other organ systems we can. And so, we only have one liver during the course of our life. And here are some of the most important roles it has. It helps the body to fight infection by basically helping to get rid of bacteria, bad bacteria in the system. Helps convert inactive T4, which is your thyroid hormone, to the active T3 that cells use. It breaks down nutrients. It also helps keep our blood sugar stable by something called gluconeogenesis, and also through the glycogen, the stored carbohydrate in the liver. It creates ketones. So I know a lot of you guys listening there, you've heard me talk about ketones. Well, the ketones are actually created in the liver. So we need a good, well-functioning liver there. Produces the substances that regulate blood clotting, creates cholesterol, which is the backbone of testosterone, estrogen. We need cholesterol in our brain. Produces bile. Bile is mostly cholesterol, and that's critical for digesting fat-soluble nutrients like vitamin A, D, E, and vitamin K2. It's also very important for deactivating toxins. A lot of people think we store toxins in our liver. That's not true. We don't store them in the liver. We store them in fat cells. So in fatty liver, we've got toxins on the liver, but that's because of the fat that's built up. But in general, we deactivate toxins, kind of like when we wash our hands, we take soap, and the soap basically takes the toxins off our hands. That's pretty much what the liver does. Now, we need to make sure that the drain is open so the toxins can leave. Otherwise, if the drain's closed, then they're going to sit in, the sink. And that's kind of the same thing in our body. If we can't get rid of these things, we can't eliminate them because we have poor bile flow, we have poor gut motility, so bowel motility, we're dehydrated, we've got micronutrient deficiencies, we've got an overgrowth of bad bacteria and different microbes, parasites, then we're going to end up with problems. So very important functions for the liver. And here are the things that really stress the liver. So we know that lots of caffeine can stress the liver. A little bit can be fine, but a lot of it can overwhelm the system. So we've got to be careful there. A lot of alcohol, of course, excessive workload. So just stress in general, smoking, medications, infections. This includes stealth gut infections that we may not necessarily notice. We may not be running a fever, but we've got an overgrowth of certain microbes that are causing problems in the body. Processed foods, so eating bad, environmental toxins that we're exposed to, and then a micronutrient deficient diet will definitely play a role, in food sensitivities. And so when we look at this, we know that healthy liver, okay, looks good and normal, but in a fatty liver, we start to develop fat enlargement. And that's a big issue because the cells become inflamed, and over time, they can actually die and become fibrotic tissue and then cirrhosis. This also blocks good, healthy bile flow. So it restricts our body's ability to absorb those fat-soluble nutrients. Bile is also critical for reducing inflammation and basically getting rid of bad bacteria, bad microbes, antimicrobial in the small intestine, and helps alkalize the small intestine, which is important because we've got all this stomach acid coming in. We need that bile to break down fat, to absorb fat-soluble nutrients, to get rid, help sweep out bad microbes. Also very important for blood sugar stability too. Bile helps regulate blood sugar. So we have a normal liver, okay, and then there's something called lipogenesis, where we basically are generating fat around the liver, and that's that non-alcoholic fatty liver. Obviously, if we're an alcoholic, we're going to end up progressing quickly into cirrhosis. We've got full-on cell damage, massive cell damage, and scar tissue development in the liver. But in somebody who's not an alcoholic, it just starts as lipogenesis. Then we get more and more inflammation, and that ends up leading to this condition, NASH, non-alcoholic steatic hepatitis. Okay, and so basically we're damaging that liver, and then eventually into cirrhosis, where we've got advanced cell damage and scarring. Now, all the way up until we get full-on cirrhosis, it is reversible, okay, as you can see by this chart. Now, major symptoms of fatty liver Oftentimes very dark urine, even when you're very well hydrated, because we're losing more proteins out of the body. Loss of appetite, so typically not hungry. You might be nauseous and vomiting. You might have sudden weight loss and very pale stools. So your stools may all of a sudden become almost like a very, very whitish brown, very pale. And that's a sign that you're not getting bile, because bile creates the brown color that's in a stool. And so if we don't have that, then we're getting more pale stools. Jaundice, where we've got yellowing of the eyes, yellowing of the skin. Excessive fatigue, we're just really, really tired. We've got easy bruising and abdominal pain. So we've got pain in our gut. We're bruising really easily because we're not getting the right platelet levels, which are produced by the liver, or liver helps in that production. So we end up with a lot of different issues here. And then causes, there's certainly a genetic issue. Number one cause is insulin resistance, and that's going to come from a poor diet. And also infections play a role in insulin resistance. When we have high insulin levels, it's going to end up causing more fat storage throughout the body, in particular in the liver. Certain medications contribute to this, especially using a lot of NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, definitely can be damaging to the liver. Sedentary lifestyle. Okay, so a lot of people are not moving, sitting all day, definitely stressful to the liver. Consuming a lot of toxins, if you're breathing in household mold all day, or if you are exposed to pesticides, herbicides, different chemicals that you're using for cleaning, this can all play a role. And so you can see in the bottom there how those cells become damaged and fibrotic and basically like scar tissue. And that's the cirrhosis of the liver, and the liver can't do its job. So what are the strategies? Well, I definitely recommend for fatty liver an anti-inflammatory ketogenic diet and lifestyle. So we want a ketogenic style diet to help stabilize blood sugar, improve insulin levels, and we want it loaded with anti-inflammatory foods. That's going to be things like cruciferous vegetables, your non-starchy green vegetables, your herbs, basil, oregano, thyme, turmeric, ginger, cinnamon. These kinds of herbs are very anti-inflammatory. It's going to mean grass-fed organic foods. So that's what we're going to be looking for there. Really good hydration. Some great liver healthy herbs are going to be things like parsley, dandelion, milk thistle is probably the most well-studied liver regenerative herb that's out there. But other good ones like licorice is another good one. Let's see, I mentioned dandelion, peppermint's good for the liver. So a lot of really good herbs for the liver. We want to reduce stress and optimize our sleep. Also, when we're really angry, if we're kind of walking around frustrated, it puts a lot of stress on the liver. The liver is kind of your seat of anger. And if you're real irritable, you're angry, you're holding on to bitterness, it's definitely going to overwhelm the liver. The liver's not going to be able to do its job well. It's going to break down faster. So we want to avoid that. We also want to really just deal with our anger, get to the bottom, get to the root cause and address that. Intermittent fasting. So taking time, I recommend like a 16-8 or 18-6, where you consume your meals between a 6 to 8 hour eating window. So let's say 12 to 6, for example. And then that leaves an 18-hour cleansing or fasting window. And the benefit of that is when you're in that fasting or cleansing window, your insulin goes very, very low. And when we don't have this constant bombardment of insulin in our body, we're actually able to burn fat for fuel, as opposed to if we keep insulin stimulated all day by consuming meals every 3 to 4 hours, then insulin just stays high and it keeps sending the message to store fat, store more fat, create more inflammation. So you think about insulin, you got to think about storing fat and increasing inflammation. And that's the issue there. Castor oil packs, you can actually use castor oil to help improve liver function. I go over that in the article that accompanies this video, so check that out. Epsom salt baths are another great thing. They provide sulfates, which are necessary for phase 2 liver detox, as well as magnesium. Magnesium is really key for phase 1, 2, and 3 liver detox. So great way to get more magnesium, more sulfates in the body is soaking in Epsom salts. Also key liver support nutrients, and I'll go through that in a second. And then we want to optimize stomach acid and bile flow. And so we want to really make sure stomach acid is working well. So I go through a number of strategies for that in the article that accompanies this. But the worst foods, the things we definitely want to avoid in order to have optimal liver health, are going to be processed foods. Okay, so any sort of processed, not man-made food can be an issue here. Refined sugar, high amounts of fructose especially, which is the fruit sugar. It's the sugar we find in fruit, and also we find it in corn, and it's used commonly to sweeten many mainstream products. We want to avoid that. Alcohol, trans fatty acids, so any sort of partially hydrogenated oils, we want to make sure we're avoiding those. Conventionally raised animal products, loaded with herbicides, pesticides, so lots of chemicals in there, heavy metals, glyphosate, which is an herbicide, a really powerful herbicide. We've got to avoid the conventionally raised animal products. Definitely important to go organic, grass-fed. In fact, if you're going to change anything in your diet, I would recommend coming off of conventional animal products and sticking with grass-fed, organic, pasture-raised animal products. So important. And then be sure to avoid any sort of genetically modified foods. It's going to be things like corn, soy. I mean, we should avoid those anyways. With zucchini, you want to make sure you're getting organic, non-GMO. So very important there because that's a common thing. Anything that has sugar in it. In general, we want to avoid sugar. But if it has sugar, it should say non-GMO. So you know it's not coming from a genetically modified beet, right, which is used commonly. Now, best foods for liver health. Grass-fed liver, and I'll go through that. Actually, eating liver from a healthy animal is the best thing for your liver health. It has all the key nutrients you need. Cruciferous veggies, so your broccoli, your cauliflower, your cabbage, Brussels sprouts. These are all great for the liver. Watercress, kale, collard greens, all really good. Beets are a fantastic food for liver health. Now, if you're consuming beets, it's definitely going to raise your blood sugar and knock you out of ketosis. But if you enjoy beets, doing it maybe like once a week to, in a sense, do a little bit of a carb reload and add in a lot of liver healthy nutrients can be effective. Okay, eggs. So pasture raised, organic eggs are great. Citrus fruits, lemons and limes. Squeeze them on food, drink them in water. You know, a lot of you guys are drinking lemon water, apple cider vinegar water. That's a great strategy to help the liver. Leafy greens, so watercress, arugula, romaine lettuce, spinach, these types of things can be really healthy for the liver. Garlic can be great. Berries, so blueberries, blackberries are probably the best, lower in sugar. So great option as far as getting in the berries. Now, herbs, basil, oregano, turmeric, thyme, these are all fantastic. Rosemary is another really good one. Those are all great. You also have things like parsley that I mentioned earlier, milk thistle, which is the most well-studied herb for liver health. These are great. You can drink different teas, like there is a everyday detox tea by traditional medicinals that's great for the liver. Avocados. Believe it or not, coffee. Now, in moderation, coffee can be really helpful. The polyphenolic compounds in coffee are great for liver health. So it can be very, very healthy for the body, but it needs to be in moderation. Green tea, fatty fish like salmon and sardines are great. Nuts, spirulina, chlorella, olives, and olive oil can all be great. Now, I don't recommend peanuts, which are actually a legume, but certain nuts can be very healthy for the body, like walnuts, pecans, macadamia nuts, and those oftentimes are well tolerated. So you can try those out. Spirulina and chlorella are single-cell algae, really good for helping detoxify the body. They're also a great source of key micronutrients that support liver health. Now, benefits of eating the liver, as you can see, loaded with B12. I mean, liver really has all the nutrients that are necessary for our liver to be able to function well. B vitamins, fat-soluble vitamin A, so that retinol, zinc, phosphorus, I mean, all kinds of great stuff. Iron. So really, really good. Also has vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K2. So I provide some of the instruction here with it. All livers are good. I don't recommend pork liver. Okay, so the other animals that we naturally are consuming are very good livers, but I don't recommend consuming pork liver. Okay, because pigs are very dirty animal that really stores a lot of toxins in their liver. So that would in and around their liver. Most pigs have fatty liver, so we definitely want to avoid that because we don't want to be consuming that. But in general, this is really, really good. Also provides mitochondrial support nutrients, so like vitamin or CoQ10. So you've got CoQ10, you've got L-carnitine, acetyl L-carnitine, very, very important, and also glutathione boosting agents in the liver as well to support our body's liver function, our opportunity to make cellular energy and to detoxify and get rid of toxins. So supplements I recommend are Thyro Liver Protect, which has key nutrients like selenomethionine, very important for good liver health. Milk thistle has a very high dose of milk thistle, which is fantastic for stimulating regeneration of liver cells. I think every single person that has non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NASH, the steatic hepatitis, or also the liver cirrhosis, or if you have a family member that has that, should be on milk thistle. Should also be on things like alpha lipoic acid and N-acetylcysteine, which are glutathione boosting agents. So very important that we help the body with key rate limiting factors and key things that turn into glutathione in order to help our body detoxify and help support the liver. Now, another great supplement is our kidney and liver detox. This has a little bit lower dosage of milk thistle, but milk thistle is in there. It also has things like parsley, which is really, really good for the liver. So it has a couple other key nutrients that are helpful for both the liver and the kidneys and opening up the drainage pathways of the body. So I like to use both of these together. Somebody has fatty liver, I'll do 2 caps twice a day of the Thyro Liver Protect. And then the kidney and liver detox, I'm usually doing 1, sometimes 2 caps 2 times a day as well. So that's the recommendation strategy. Hopefully this is a helpful video for you guys. And remember to check out the article that's accompanying this right under the video. And that will give you a whole lot more information. Also the research, the actual research citations for where I got this information. So be sure to check that out. Check out our products. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe to our channel. And if you have questions, be sure to leave them in the comments box below. My team and I will be happy to get back to you guys and give you the kind of education information you need to step forward in your life. So hopefully everybody has a great day. Be blessed, and we'll see you on the next training.